Tyler Jackson of Play Sheet Sports here with quarterback Brock Green of the Independence Patriots. Brock, thank you for joining me today.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You guys are coming in, following up a semifinal run again, and I don't think it's too it was much of a surprise that Independence was in the semifinals, except for maybe last year. I feel like maybe you guys were a little bit ahead of schedule because you had a lot of youth, a lot of younger players, and you were kind of at the forefront of that. You were a freshman quarterback. You had a bunch of freshman offensive linemen blocking for you and a couple younger players in the secondary. So I want to start off with the expectations coming into this year. Where you guys setting the goal at realistically?
Well, I'm going to start with the offensive line because I really think that's where we're going to grow the most. I think that they've been hitting the weight room so hard, and I'm so proud of them. And it's really, really shown out here on the field this week in practice.
Gotcha. So overall, what do you feel like the season goal is? Is it semifinal? Are you shooting something? Are you putting on the bulletin board? Hey, state championship, Charleston on Saturday.
Well, that's been on the bulletin board since the Roane County game last year. That's every year we're here to win, so that's all we fight for here.
Kind of following up on that, was there a point where you felt like you were kind of playing with house money, like whatever happens, we feel like we're overachieving, or did you feel like last year at that point, like, hey, we deserve to be here, we feel like we should be here?
Well, my expectations a little bit different from the other freshmen because I've been here when Judah and Cyrus and Big Herb Phelan and Atticus and all of them were here. So that's my expectation. That's really how I was born to be. That was how I was raised to be expected, was to win. So that's all we're here to do.
Absolutely. Now you guys had come into this year. I'm not too shy about it. I think that you're the best team in Double A. I think that if you guys are healthy, you should be playing for a state championship in Laley Field on Saturday. So I want to get into it. How do you not get lost in those expectations? Because it's so easy to look at the destination and forget about the journey there. Because your journey there is going to be extremely difficult. You guys, even getting into the playoffs will be a battle for you just because of how difficult your schedule is. It's no cakewalk, man.
Right.
You look up to it week in, week out. There's not really a week off.
Well, looking at the schedule, we just look 1 week at a time. All we got Chapmanville first, Midland Trail second, then it's Hoover. It's week by week. So that's how we're going to look at it this year, I think.
Gotcha. I kind of want to start off with that Hoover game a little bit. What is it? What's it kind of like? Because Friday Night Lights is special, but I think getting that Thursday night game, you're a marquee game, and that's the one thing that I've always argued as a journalist is I love whenever teams play that Thursday night opener because most of the state has eyes on you. You get that? Do you get that? Do you like that feel? Because I know everyone likes playing on the Friday night, but getting that Thursday night statewide game that has a lot of recognition feels like it has to mean something.
Well, last year was a little bit different because of the delay. It was almost midnight by the time halftime rolled around, so it was a little bit different. But the feeling going into the game is much different than going into a normal Friday night game. Knowing Metro News is there and knowing how many news stations is there, it really means a lot.
You hit on it a little bit, but talk to me about how that helped develop you guys because you start off your first game of the season. I don't think you kick off till like 10 or 11. And your second game, you take a 4-hour bus ride to Brook, and again you don't kick off to 9:30 or 10 because of a rainstorm. And then the Bluefield game gets moved and canceled entirely. And then I think your playoff game, you're supposed to, you don't know if you're going to play because of the injunctions, and then you start a week late, and then it gets moved from Friday to Saturday. You finally play on a Sunday because of weather, and then obviously the tragedy that you guys dealt with heading into the Philip Barber game that week. You guys dealt with more than I anticipate most teams would just be prepared for over a career, much less a single season, a younger team. What do you feel like you and your teammates really took away from those experiences?
Well, starting with the Hoover game, just being in the locker room with the guys for 3 hours, it really makes us get closer. And then going to Brook, we were ready for that. That was the game we were ready for, ready with that delay. And then with the Philip Barber game, that was just heartbreaking for everyone. And it's still heartbreaking when you think about it. We all try our best not to think about it and just move forward. And I'm so proud of those two boys and their dad for what they've been through.
Now, as the offense has evolved, from my understanding, I've talked a little bit about it with Coach Lilly, but you guys are going to get back to more of the 21-22 roots where it was, all right, whistles blown, 15, 20 seconds, we're on the ball, snapping it. As a quarterback, how have you approached that and getting ready for that? Because not only does it take a lot of stamina to be able to do that, but you also have to know, hey, is everyone lined up quickly? Because I remember that was one thing that happened back when they ran the offense like that. It's like, oh, we got to do this quickly. We got to make sure there were false start penalties. Not everyone was lined up
Right.
at times. So as a quarterback, what's the transition been like to getting ready to operate the offense at that sort of efficiency and that sort of speed?
Well, if you remember last year, we tried to do it. It just didn't work with how many young kids we had and what we had to think about it a little bit more. But now with the maturity up front, and in the backfield with me and Nelson in the backfield. I think that it's going to work really well. And with the signals, I think everybody has adjusted so well with the signals, with Mr. Moody doing the signals over here as a player, which is pretty cool. And I think we're just going to try to beat people with speed.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to go ahead and dub you guys the triplets because I think you have three. You're obviously one of the best quarterbacks in Double A. Silas, is the best running back in Double A and maybe one of the best running backs in the entire state. And then, I don't think a lot of people talk about Christian being one of the best receivers in Double A. He was a 700-yard receiver in an offense where a running back ran for 1,800 yards. Uh, let's kind of focus a little bit specifically on Christian. Just talk about what he brings to the offense because I felt like as the season went on, you trusted him a lot, but you really trusted him to be there in difficult spots. You'd put the ball up and let him make plays on it. Just talk about that chemistry and what you see from him this year.
Well, at the beginning of the year, I really feel like Christian bailed me out and made me look so good because I really didn't know what was going on. I'll admit that now. I wouldn't admit it then, but I did not know what was going on. I really, Christian bailed me out a lot. And then as the year went on, it just made me have so much faith in him to keep throwing at him. And then this year we add Caden Bradbury on the other outside, which is another threat on the outside. And I just love what we have at receiver.
Gotcha. I think that's terrific. Now, we were talking a little bit behind the scenes here, but you do some stuff with Cold Camp TV and the production in the media. Obviously, I like that because I'm in the media. I do a lot of that. What's kind of been one thing that stood out to you that you really enjoyed about that?
Well, I really think that Mr. Stevens and Mr. Moore do a great job broadcasting our games. It really gives us a little bit more exposure than just a normal Beckley station doing our games instead of our actual school. I think it means a lot to our school.
Do you feel like your peers kind of share that same sentiment where it's like, man, this is really awesome. You get to be hands on because I remember when I was in high school, I thought that I wanted to be a history teacher up until between my sophomore and junior year. Then I got a brochure from Concord and said broadcast journalism. I was like, wait, I can do that because I like sports so much and I like talking about it. So I was like, that's my opportunity. And now I think it's just so neat that you as kids kind of get that opportunity. It's brought to you. You get to work on that craft in school. So, I mean, is that something that you feel like your peers share that they really love this? Because I feel like it's grown over just the last year or two.
Yeah, when we started it, we really didn't know how big it was. Mr. Stevens purchased a few cameras just hoping that he could film the games. And then it got really big into having 3,000 and 4,000 views a game. And I think it really makes more people come to the games just because they see that it's on TV.
All right. One of the best arms in Coal City is Ava Parks. Who is the better arm, Brock Green or first team All-State catcher Ava Parks?
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Well, we'll have to get you out here one day for a competition to see who throws down the second base the quickest or who can throw it out.
She can probably beat me on that one. I'll give her that one in second base.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think is one thing that people don't know about this team that you feel like they should know?
Well, I think it's just the friendship that we really have, the brotherhood. Everybody out here loves each other like nobody else is here. So I really think it's just the love we have between one another.
Last thing I want to ask you, what's the thing that you feel like you've worked on the most? Because, I talked about it. The one thing, like your arm, I feel like it's to the point where it's just so far above where it bails you out a lot of things. I know that one thing you tried to work on was the footwork. Where do you feel like you're at with that?
Well, me and Mr. Stevens, the track coach here, put in a lot of work over the summer, just trying to get my feet better, not even with a football, just running. And I brought my 40 down a couple tenths of a second. So hopefully this year it'll even out on the field.
Have you? Because it's so hard to kind of get those things in sync, and a lot of kids, I think, just the way you throw the ball, like with your arm, if they try to do that, they wouldn't be able to make it 10 yards. And here you are putting it on the money, 30, 40 yards down the field. Do you feel like it's kind of been easier to sync those two up?
Yeah, well, it really helps me with Christian again. Just throw it as far as I can, and hopefully he'll go get it. If not, it is what it is. But I have so much faith in Christian and Brad that they'll go get it that I put all my faith in my arm.
Yeah. Now, the last question I want to ask you deals with you guys working things up. I remember when you were at the Shady Shootout at the end of June, you looked over at me during the game, and you're like, man, I feel like I'm going to puke. And you're like, I played like 20 games of football and everything. How do you feel like the summer, the camp and everything like that has really helped you? Because I feel like this is something that Independence has done really well that more teams in the area are doing. But they're doing, I guess, more of a spring camp and a summer camp leading in as a second-year quarterback. And you said, hey, I didn't know I didn't think I knew as much as what I said I did back in my freshman year. Now coming in, how do you feel like that lead up process has helped you in becoming an even better player this year?
Well, Coach Lee does such a great job in the offseason. I really think that's where we win games in the normal or regular season is in the offseason because Coach Lee, he tries so hard and wants it so bad for all of us and wants it just for himself too. So I really think that it's helped me tremendously just being in there with film with Max or being with Coach Lee on the field. Just listening to all the words that everybody's got for me has just helped me so much.
Absolutely. Brock Green, the Independence starting quarterback. Looking forward to seeing you guys. I think you kick off on August 28th here against Herbert Hoover. Should be a great game statewide, and obviously getting a win there would be a big launching point for getting in the playoff position and getting getting a top seed. Obviously, we've got a couple months till that happens, but Brock, I want to thank you again for sitting down with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I ain't got my right hand on me.